You would expect at least one other person to discover the Nintendo Gallery by now. I mean, I know that it's located in a remote part of the Great Sea. There's not many human characters that wander out into the wooded wilderness, if you may. But, you would think that at least one other person like Manny would have spread the word by now about a great figurine gallery somewhere in the Hicks. Sorry, just in the more remote parts of the world. But I guess Scooty, Carlov, wherever he may be, wherever he went, and Manny's presence are enough to keep this gallery afloat, wouldn't you say? Hey, paisanos! This is ToonGamer23, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. So in the last lengthy part, we explored the first 4 rooms of the Nintendo Gallery: the Forest Haven section, the Dragon Roost section, common enemies, and even Ganon's army. I was kind of debating whether or not to end the part right after I finished the common enemy section, but since I was on the subject of baddies, I went ahead and did Ganon's army. Okay, so now for the last 3 rooms. The Windfall room is basically the most densely populated with almost 30 figurines in this room alone. But let's start off simple with the Outset Island section of the Nintendo Gallery. As far as I know, there's not that many people on that island, but so yeah, there's obviously Aryll and Grandma, but that's not all. There's also Sturgeon, Orca, and all of Scooty's friends that he grew up on that island with. And even got a figurine of a simple crab. Alright, so let's start off with the most simple of simple creatures. Crab. Birthplace, unknown. Talent, crab walking. These creatures are crabs. Plain and simple. So yeah, even the descriptions don't really have much to say about these things other than they're crabs. What more do you need to know? But look at the design on their carapace. Lovely. Just the teal markings and that gold streak, the gold Y-shaped streak on their backs. So yeah, habitat is obviously they're born out of the Great Sea, but sometimes they can be found burying themselves in the sand on the shores. Okay, so we have this guy who always tended to his lawn. Or he used to before things took a turn for the worse. Now monsters are appearing at nighttime and he's up all night and asleep all day. Mesa. Appropriately named. Birthplace, Outset Island. Personality, slacker. Mesa performs his chores at very much his own pace. His vegetable patch is always full of weeds, and he spends most of the year trying to clear it out. He's surprisingly timid and often can't fall asleep at night. He's currently looking for a wife. The feeling's mutual, man. I'm just turning 30. I just turned 31 and I'm still single. But anyway, enough of my boring relationship life. Let's take a look at the water spirit, Jabun. Jabun, birthplace, Greatfish Isle. Water spirit. Jabun can only speak Hylian, so hardly anyone understands a word he says. I think Jabun is the appropriate title for this great fish. I mean, it could be pronounced Jabun. But, considering the fact that he's most likely a descendant of Jabu Jabu from Ocarina of Time, that's how I would pronounce his name. Even though they don't really share that much of a relation, they don't really look that much alike. I mean, this one obviously has more anglerfish qualities with that lantern on his head. So yeah, this is the former water spirit of Great Fish Isle before it was torn apart. Pretty tragic, but it's nice to know that he found a new home. Alright, the Master, our teacher. Orca, birthplace, Outset Island. Talent, swordplay. In his younger days, Orca had hoped to be a swordsman, but he suffered a serious injury that ended that dream. He soon returned to Outset and became a fisherman. Oh, wow, this is a lot more lore to Orca than I knew. So yeah, I've suffered a serious injury, poor guy, and became a fisherman? Who would have thunk? On a ledge on one wall of his house is a memento from his days of training with a blade. Orca is a lifelong bachelor. Well, obviously, I don't really see him getting with a woman anytime soon. I mean, I basically think that he gave female names to his spears, like the U.S. Marine soldiers give female names to their guns and weapons. I wonder if they still hold up that tradition. But anyway. Okay, so on to his cranky, more bulbous-headed brother, Sturgeon. Birthplace, Outset Island. Personality, extremely serious. Why so serious? Known as Outset's living encyclopedia, Sturgeon is quite wise, boasting an abnormally high IQ. He has extremely sensitive nerves, quite the opposite of his younger brother, Orca, who lives downstairs. Surprisingly, Sturgeon was an accomplished swordsman in his youth. So yeah, I mean the descriptions give us more to tell about these characters than meets the eye. I mean, yeah. Obviously, an enlarged head is never a good sign, but you might want to see a doctor about that. But still though, just... yeah, wisdom is a powerful thing. I mean... more of a balance thing. I mean, you two are brothers, so maybe you can see more eye to... hopefully you two can see more eye to eye as you get even older, so... and wind up on your deathbeds eventually. Okay, so we have the girl with the pot on her head. Very iconic. Sue Bell. Place of birth, Windfall Island. Personality, serious. Alright, so we have an inhabitant that was born on Windfall. Sue Bell was born and raised on Windfall, but she became concerned for the health of her grandfather, Sturgeon, so she decided to move to live with him on Outset Islands. That's very sweet of her. Morning, noon, and night, she fills vases with water and carries them on her head, from the well to her house. Strangely enough, she actually enjoys the task. Yeah. Honestly, it's quite rare to have a girl with purple hair, so she must have... wonder where she got that color somewhere. She must have... be secretly seeing somebody who dyes hair or something. Ah, yes! Winged spirit animals. Seagull. Birthplace, unknown. Talent, flying. Seagulls soar freely over the great sea. They love hioi pears above all other foods, and eating them simply steals their hearts. And in a way, steals their minds, since they're susceptible to mind control after they ingest one from atop our heads. Actually, it's actually pretty symbolic that Scooty tops a hioi pear on top of his head, and then the mind control link just kicks in. I guess the hioi pear just kind of absorbs his subconscious or something like that, and transfers it to the seagulls. But anyway, so time to meet our little sister. All right. So yes, The very reason that Scooty set off on this adventure in the first place was to rescue his little sister. With her telescope. That's so cute. Aryll. Birthplace, Outset Island. Personality, kind and true to her family. Scooty's energetic younger sister is adored by all who meet her. Her current goal is to learn how to fetch water so she can help out her grandmother. Her most treasured belonging is a telescope bearing a drawing of a seagull. If you look closely, it's more than one, so... Yeah, just... Toon Link's adorable little sister. Probably, tragically, I think that this is the closest that, that's the iconic Legend of Zelda hero, Link, has to a family. Kind of tragic. I mean, the hero of time lost his mother, and we never heard of his father. And the closest he had to a father was a tree that died off, and all that, and we never really hear much about any of the other incarnation of heroes' families, so I like to assume that they were either killed off or just weren't there for him. It's tragic. Grandma! Maker of the finest soup on the 7 seas. Such a sweet lady. Scooty's grandma. Birthplace, Outset Island. Personality, worrywart. This kind old woman works hard to raise her 2 grandchildren. She's a very talented cook. Her special elixir soup is sure to raise anyone's spirits, as well as her magic power and attack power. She also can be somewhat mischievous and enjoys playing the occasional prank on Scooty. What? Excuse me, I would never take her for a prankster. She didn't even drop any hints in her dialogue throughout the game that she might be a prankster. So yeah, even the descriptions can give away a lot more lore to the characters than you might think. Alright, piggies! Wild pig, birthplace unknown, talent digging holes.
Dig a hole, dig a hole!
Exactly what he said. Dig a hole, dig a hole. Wild pigs are found primarily in the fields of Outset Island. They love all-purpose bait above all other foods, and when they eat it, they can't help but tear into the earth. And if you attack them enough times, they turn into the worst enemy ever. Possibly challenging even cuckoos from the olden days. Okay, so let's move on. Alright, so yeah, the shapely wife of, with a grape on her apron. That's a nice touch. Rose, birthplace, Outset Island. Favorite thing, animals. The mother of Joel and Zill, Rose is a woman of refreshingly simple tastes. But she's a demanding mother. She has the bad habit of trying to laugh her way out of lies. Is that so? So yeah. Yeah, you'd be very surprised at the descriptions of some of these characters. Abe. Birthplace, Outset Island. Greatest treasure, his family. It's cheesy, but it's true. Abe is a family man who takes good care of his wife and 2 kids. In his younger days, his dashing good looks and baritone voice made him quite the ladies' man. Oh, is that so? I can honestly see that, honestly. He does have a handsome, stern demeanor to him. Then one day, he was instantly smitten by a woman named Rose. Even though he was consistently rebuffed, he persisted and finally convinced Rose to marry him. Good for you, man. Don't really, well, I hope you're happy with the choice you made in your life. I mean, you've got a loving wife and 2 kids, even one who has a dripping nose, so I imagine your life is pretty much set. Okay, so let's start with the normal child. Joel, birthplace Outset Island. Main interest, sticks. Joel's dream is to grow up as soon as he can so he can jump across boulders just like Scooty. Both he and his younger brother Zill distinctly resemble their father. Really? Because I don't really see much of a resemblance. I mean, this guy's got fully detailed eyes with the sclera and iris and everything, and these two just have little anime dots for eyes. So yeah, this boy's interest is just finding sticks on the beach and just laying them straight, I guess. 5, 6, grab some sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight. Okay, so Booger Boy. Oh, gross. Zill, birthplace, Outset Island. Talent, sniffling. Nasty. Zill is a hyper-inquisitive young boy who speaks his thoughts as soon as they come to mind. He can often strike a nerve without realizing it. Yeah, I mean, pretty much anybody who has a giant boogie hanging out of their nose like that can strike a nerve with anybody, and whenever you're trying to chase one down. Anyway. He likes to imitate his older brother, Joel, and strangely enough, it seems that he actually lets his nose run on purpose. So this little gremlin actually lets his nose be that way, and ew, I think it's sticking to its clothes. Ew, ew. Okay, we're done with that island. You really had to place that little midget right there. Okay, so on to Windfall Island. Okay, so in here we have the most densely populated figurine collection of any room here. So yeah, look at all these figurines. Okay, so yeah. This is gonna take a little bit. When I say a little bit, I just mean like half an hour at least. Okay, so let's start with, what's her name? From, just outside the potion shop. Minenso. Minenko? Whatever. Minenso. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite thing, pictographs. This former beauty became famous after being dubbed Miss Windfall Island about 40 years ago. There isn't a younger woman who could take that title away. Oh, I'm sure there might be some contenders out there, but, yeah, she also looks good for her age. Okay, so, next we have, the lady who was on the backside of the island, in a secluded area, just watching for ships nearby, I guess. Missy, birthplace, Windfall Island. Her son, Dampa the Sailor. Oh, so one of the sailors was her son. That's interesting. She's just an ordinary, elderly woman. Oh, come on. There has to be at least something about this. I mean, if we can find out Scooty's grandmother was a prankster, at least give this woman something. The same with the couple of characters in Windfall, or Dragon Roosts. I forget their names already, but at least give them something interesting. Okay, so we have this guy who delivered love letters in secret to the postbox. Garrickson, birthplace Windfall Island. Personality, passionate. He is constantly thinking of someone on a faraway island. He's apparently a very passionate man, and he has a very hip sense of fashion. Well, I guess in that era, I guess crimson overalls were considered quote-unquote hip. Hip to be square, I guess. Okay, so. Aha! So we have the man with the. It's kind of like a. With a fuzzy looking toupee on his head. Either that or an animal just fell asleep on it. Anton, birthplace Windfall Island. Favorite activity, kickboxing. Ooh, another interesting fact about this guy. The reason his second favorite hobby is taking walks is because it keeps his legs in shape. he's had his eye on a certain young lady lately. And thanks to a side quest, we now know who that young lady is. Okay, so, who's this guy? The lighthouse keeper. The man in the yellow hat, if you will. That's not looking after Curious George. Creeb, birthplace, Windfall Island. Least favorite proverb, only smoke and fools love high places. Well, I've never heard of that proverb before, but thanks anyway for that little tidbits. Only smoke and fools love high places. This young guy's trademark is his yellow hat. He seems to have an unusual interest in the town's Ferris wheel and lighthouse. Oh, so he's not, so his occupation isn't technically the keeper of the lighthouse, he's just basically fascinated by it, obsessed with it even. Okay, so the two gossiping ladies just outside Zunari's stall. Pompey and Vera, birthplace, Windfall Island, hobby, gossiping. Pompey and Vera are the town's most talkative pair of ladies, and they are always spreading idle gossip. Lately, they've been obsessed with Lenzo. Okay, so yeah, just juicy gossip on the pictograph guy right here. But we'll start off with Zunari. Who surprisingly has pigtails underneath his hood. So yeah, the stall owner and the master of the auction. The shop guru Zunari. They even have a little nickname for him. Birthplace, a cold island. Pet phrase, dear me. Even on the hottest day of summer, Zunari can be found in his shop, wearing the beloved hood that his mother made for him. He keeps a great treasure in his safe there. On a side note, he turns 40 this year, and is now recruiting for a wife. Oh. Okay, I would have thought that with his mannerisms and his speech habits, you would have thought that he was, never mind. I don't judge. You do you, man. If you're truly looking for a lovely woman in your life, who am I to judge? Okay, so we move on to the pictograph guy, who has kind of like that dour look he had at the beginning before we showed him our pictograph box. So yeah, he wasn't always chipper and upbeat. The pictographer, Lenzo. Birthplace, unknown. Personality, hard to grasp. Lenzo is a famed pictographer known to all. His mysterious personality is quite popular with the ladies in town. Well, keep up with that mysterious personality. Okay. Oh, we have Disco Guy from out on the cliff with the gravestone. Tott, birthplace Windfall Island. Talent, dancing. This young fellow dreams of becoming a professional dancer. He dances before a strange stone monument day and night. This smooth dancer may still be practicing, but he's also recruiting for a partner. We're also recruiting for a partner! Sorry, with the musical note at the end, so I just had to break out in song. Yeah, bust a move and bring on the day tonight and the night today. At least that's his dream, but without a certain Wind Waker in his possession, he'll have no such luck. Okay, the Killer Bees, the troublesome quartet of chaos. Windfall's gang of boys, the Killer Bees. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Main objective, raising trouble. This small gang of 4 calls itself the Killer Bees. Starting from the left, the members are... The leader, Ivan, a very talented and reliable leader. Leave all tree climbing to him. Jin, the fox. Ivan's quick-witted advisor. his wry insults can be hard to take. Jan, the blue hair, uses his innocent looks to avert trouble. He's the Killer Bee's thug. Even, ironically, since he has the most innocent-looking face. Honestly, kind of confusing for a girl once or twice. Anyway. The pig-nose, Jun Roberto, secretly aims to be the next gang leader. He was raised in a bourgeois family and has developed into a terrible little tyrant. When these four are together, they fear absolutely nothing! Except an even bigger kid who can beat them at their own games. Alright, so we have the Joy Pendant-loving teacher. The joyful teacher, Miss Marie. Birthplace, Windfall Island. This year's lucky number, 20. This year marks the 20th year this splendid individual has worked as Windfall Island's school teacher. Her hobby is collecting joy pendants. And we could probably tell from the objective of gathering enough joy pendants to gain the deed to the private oasis, so... Her goal in life is to raise unique and creative students. The most unique thing she's ever created is her own hairstyle! So yeah. Yeah, indeed, her hair is quite distinguishable. It's a butterfly! Okay. Oh, these two little girls down by the shore. Petova and Joanna. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Nickname, the Little Tipsters. These two girls are talented at hinting on island rumors, seemingly without any tips or advice from others. Children can be really frightening sometimes. If even the description says that, I don't think anybody is safe from the threat of children. So yeah, it's always the ones you least suspect to hide the most darkest secrets, or just an uncomfortable amount of info. It's just like how these kids get their hands on certain gossip is anyone's guess. Okay, so here we have the before and after of the girls who were captured by the Helmrock King, aside from Aryll, and their fathers. The before and after of them. Alright, so let's start with this ugly father right here. So yeah, he was ugly on the outside before. Now he's ugly both on the inside and outside with his strand of hair and his pimpin' top hats. So yeah, his pimpin' style. Being filthy rich. Maggie's father. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Personality, not particularly good. And trust me, we can tell. Surprisingly, Maggie's father is quite confident that he is the epitome of fashion. It would probably be more accurate to say that his clothes he wears are distinct. Meaning you can easily just tell him apart from others. He seems to especially like vintage clothes and jewelry. Yeah, where he got that brooch and diamond cane. Yeah, he's straight up pimping in his new lifestyle. In his old lifestyle, he was just stalking young adventurers and pleading for them to go rescue his daughter. Speaking of which, there's the before and there's the after of Maggie's life. Maggie, birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite things? Love and romance. How original. Maggie was dirt poor before being kidnapped and held captive in the Forsaken Fortress. She's quite popular with all boys, but she prefers wild boys over all others. So yeah, lover of bad boys, I guess. Could never figure a woman's heart. Or even a young girl's heart. Lately, she has been taken to writing poems and will soon be publishing one entitled A Woman's Heart is Blue. Interesting. So this young lady actually has a future in writing. And I'm seriously convinced that she got that on loan from the Happy Mask salesman's descendant somewhere on the Great Sea. I mean, that can't be a coincidence with her bunny hoods, along with her dress when she's rich. So yeah, she was nothing but a beggar pauper before, but now she's a princess with her bunny hoods on. Okay, so now the before and the after of the rich girl that was taken to the Forsaken Fortress. Mila, birthplace Windfall Island, personality harsh. She's definitely not the only blonde in the game who has a harsh personality. This poor girl was filthy rich until she got rescued from her prison in the Forsaken Fortress. Now that her family has fallen on hard times, she works for the shop on Windfall Island to help ease their hardship. And at night she goes off, trying to break into the safe. Well, she did try to break into the safe, but thanks to Scooty, she's turned a new leaf and she actually goes off on a distant island at nighttime. Where she goes, no one knows. But yeah, just distinctly different from her old and new lifestyles, eh? Yeah, I'm honestly shocked that Carlov actually knew her old design and her richness, what her rich style looked like before she turned into a beggar. And what's a daughter without her father? Alright, so yes, the guy who was understandably peeved at us for breaking his jars. That anger is understandable. Mila's father. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite thing, money. Formerly. His hobby was once collecting expensive vases, but unfortunately they were the kind of vase one wants to break as soon as one catches sight of them. Who could resist? They're so shiny and sparkly and breakable. Those who did and were forced to compensate him for his loss were said to regret it afterward. Especially if you don't have the funds necessary and he just kicks you out of his home. But yeah, this is probably a man that has gone through the most character development ever. He was once rich and wealthy and so full of himself, but now he's fallen on hard times with brown hats, and he's probably gone a little. His hair is probably thinning under there, but he at least now knows the true value of happiness in this world. Not money, but family, and being grateful for what you have. That is character development right there. Sadly, not all people can go through that development. Sadly, some wealth just falls on people that don't really deserve it. Tragic, but it's the truth. Okay, so, on to this one. Gummy the Sailor. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite spice? Pepper. Salt and pepper much? Maybe paprika, maybe cumin. What other spices does this guy like? No one knows where he gets his spending money from, but this nifty sailor spends nights after night unwinding at the auction. I saw him a couple of times at the auction. Okay, so who is this? Kane the Sailor. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite occupation? Artiste. Long ago, Kane longed to be an artist or a sculptor, but circumstances in his home life forced him to become a sailor. He's still critical of all artistic expression, though. You could see that in how he was enchanted by all of our decorations on the town's gates. So yeah, man of good taste in artwork. I admire that. Alright, so yeah. So yeah, there's the sailor with the overbites and kind of like a pig nose. So yeah, this is the one who had all the piggies for us to round up. Dampa the sailor. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite animal? Pigs! Dampa recently got some pet pigs, and now they're all he can think about. He really confirms the old adage about pets and their owners. Whatever that word means. Well, whatever. So, yes, this is the son of Missy. Alright, so yeah. Candy the sailor. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Good at cooking? Grapes. Oh, so he's good at making jelly or jam or something like that. Never really knew anybody who was good at cooking grapes, but maybe peeling grapes or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, certain character bios in these figurines I'd really like to know more about. At first glance, Candy looks a little intimidating, but he's actually extremely kind and quite knowledgeable. He's always happy to share his knowledge, too. He's energetic and sort of a scamp for a 17-year-old. If I was drinking something, that would be an extreme spit take moment right there. This guy is 17 years old! Would have thought that we would be at least 10 years older, maybe like in his mid to late 20s. Certainly has that physique, but seriously, dude, talk about an early bloomer. Alright, so we have Anton's love interest, Linda. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Best friend, Sue Bell. So yeah, she's best friends with the pot girl on Outset Island. Small world, huh? Lately, her childhood friend, the delicate Camo, has become smitten with her, but she's apparently completely oblivious to his feelings. So yeah, the emo guy in the back has had a thing for her once, but unfortunately, she's found a new love interest. Oh well, dude, there's plenty more fish in the sea. And I'm not just saying that because you're literally surrounded by ocean. I really mean it. Okay, so. Let's see this guy. Sam, birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite spot? The Sea View Bench. He thinks that a little composure is of the utmost importance in life. Sam's a card-carrying volunteer of the Joyous Volunteer Association. I'll just call it JVA from now on. Okay, so yeah. Not bad for an attire that's basically normal. I mean, you got the shirt and just the olive-colored vest. Olive brown-colored vest. Okay, so move on to the cafe bartender, or the waitress. Jillian. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Workplace, the cafe bar. Jillian manages the cafe in place of her now ill father. It seems she once had a boyfriend, but that info is top secret. I'm kind of concerned of how much detail Carlov actually... how much info Carlov actually got on this woman. I mean... so yeah, just, she has a love life, but that's classified. For some reason. Okay, so we move on to the waitress, or the barkeeper, to this bar patron right here. Gosak. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Personality, not brave. There isn't much to say about Gosak. Aside from the fact that he's a scaredy cat. Just by, well, we had to take a picture of him cowering in fear whenever we bumped our head into a table or knocked over some good cups and china. Okay, so we have the before and the after of the bomb shop keeper. Bomb master, Cannon. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Mood shifts violently. Ganon is the world's only maker of bombs. He considers himself a magician with gunpowder and other explosives. His hairstyle is as unique as his talents. like to be aware of where he got those kind of Mickey Mouse type of bobs of hair. So yeah, that's the before, when he was a greedy miser and sold his bombs for 10 grands. 10 to 30 grands, that which we could never afford, to more of a New Leaf type of character. Look at that smile. Look at that. Just, did he go blind or something? Probably not, but still, just those squinty eyes. So yes, even those crankiest of stooges can turn a new leaf. Okay, so, do we have here the Chew Jelly Juice Shop patron and mad scientist, or just, not mad scientist, just scientists, mind you. Chew Jelly Science. The Potion Master, Doc Bantam. Birthplace, Windfall Island. Favorite food, Chew Jelly. Doc Bantam spends his days researching chew-chews in his potion shop. He visits Pawprint Island now and then to collect the chew jelly he uses to make his potions. He considers himself a potion artist, and like an artist, he's quite whimsical. We can tell that, just like with his mannerisms, just with just being so excited about new chew jelly specimens and all that. Yeah, he's quite spontaneous, if I might add. Okay, so last but not least, we have the emo guy. Camo, birthplace Windfall Island, years with no girlfriends, 18. Mine is debatably longer. I mean, I did have a crush on a girl back in grade school, but I never worked up the guts to ask her out, so... such is life. Ever the romantic, Camo loves to gaze at the night sky. He and his dear friend Linda were once classmates in Miss Marie's school. So yeah, this guy who is infatuated by the moon. Honestly, a very good hobby to have, but don't go spreading the word that he's a softie. He doesn't look like he's one to share his hobbies with. Well, maybe if you opened up, maybe you'll find somebody special in your life one day. You gotta open up sometime. Alright, so that was Windfall Island section. Just like, wow, that was a long one. Okay, 6 down, 1 more room to go. Okay, so hang on a second, battery's getting low. Let me recharge that. Okay, so battery's getting charged as we speak, so let's venture onward into the Great Sea section. Let's end off the Nintendo Gallery with the most exquisite Great Sea figurines of all. Okay, so let's start off with this one right here. An ordinary fairy. Fairy, birthplace, unknown. First impression, good. Well, have you ever expected an evil fairy? Like maybe a pixie or harpy that can eat your flesh or something? Well, anyway. Fairies are the most reliable of creatures. When their master's life energy has been depleted, they immediately come to his or her aid. They can be carried in bottles. Regrettably, just make sure that those bottles didn't contain any gross materials before you capture them in. Okay, so the Great Fairies. So look at them all. So yeah, we got pink, purple, aqua, and teal or lime green, sort of pale lime green. Great Fairy, birthplace, Angular Isles, talent powering up. What? Wait. Those couple of pairs of cubic Rubik's Cube islands were the birthplace of these celestial beings? How is that possible? I have so many questions about that. Unfortunately, we won't get answers, regrettably. The 7 great fairies who are destined to aid the great hero by increasing his powers are hiding in 7 different reaches of the Great Sea. And I found each and every last one of them. So, long story short, they were all very helpful. Alright, so we have the prototype of Fi from Skyward Sword. I mean, just look at Fi from Skyward Sword and tell me that's not just like her great descendants from a different timeline. Ooh, and I'm loving the shifting colors of these. It's like they place an LED light or something that constantly shifts colors within her. Yeah, nice touch. Okay, so yeah, she carries a great fairy doll with her. So yeah, despite the appearance of being a child, this is indeed the Queen of Fairies. Queen of Fairies, birthplace, Fairy Islands, wherever that is. Talent, empowering arrows with fire and ice. She appears to be but a child, but she is much greater and more powerful than the great fairies. She will grant Scooty the power to add fire and ice to his arrows. She already has, and we never see her again. But thanks to legendary pictographs by Lenzo, that wasn't a problem. Okay, so here's a sad reminder that these are the last 3 Gorons in existence. After they die, they become an extinct species along with the Kokiri and the Zoras. Traveling merchants. Birthplace, unknown. Favorite food, rocks. So yeah, they don't even mention the fact that these guys were born on Death Mountain. Or Goron City, more likely. I mean, come on, these are clearly Gorons. You can't... Never mind. These businessmen are traveling the world in search of curios and oddities, each with the hope of someday opening his own shop. Nobody knows where these wandering merchants have come from or where they're headed. Oh, I don't know. Some big Zelda nerds might know a thing or two about where these guys come from. And the symbols on their backpacks is a huge indicator of that. But still, though, as far as the crowd of Wind Waker is concerned, they're a mystery. Ho, old man, ho-ho! Old man ho-ho, birthplace unknown, favorite thing, telescopes. Old man ho-ho found his first telescope after retiring from his job and has been traveling in search of new sights ever since. And, so, yeah, retiring from your job. I hope you have enough income to keep you afloat for the rest of your life. Because I don't really think that, that gazing through a telescope is a very nifty job searching technique. I don't really think that's going to put much on your resume. A new discovery always awaits at the far end of his telescope. And his pink eye, that's kind of concerning. Just basically how long he's been peering out through that telescope and just not forgetting to blink. But anyway. Okay, so let's start off Tetra's pirate crew. Okay, so yeah, you remember a while back that once we got a picture of Tetra while we were down at Hyrule Castle before we were introduced to the King of Hyrule. Once we showed Tetra's pictograph, Carlov just went ahead and sculpted the whole kit and caboodle of the pirate crew. Just like all pirate members. No charge. Okay, so we got the one with the EGAD glasses, it looks like. Okay, so. Mako. Personality, at first glance, quiet. Least favorite thing? Having his glasses touched by strangers. Mako is called the brains of the ship and the king of innovation. He may look like a weakling, but his glasses give him keen eyesight, and he's unstoppable when mad. Never underestimate the power of a little guy who is enraged. Not many know this, but he keeps a knife hidden in that thick book of his. Oh, very cutthroat, I might add. So yeah, it's always the ones you least suspect. It's always the quiet ones that have the biggest, most cutthroat secrets. So yeah. So yeah, best not to piss off this little guy. Okay. Hello, it's Swabby! Sorry. Nico. Personality, Mary. Least favorite thing, Gonzo's underwear. Nico is the bottom rung on the pirate ladder, so he's responsible for all the odd jobs on the ship. He's quite childish and rarely thinks of the consequences of his actions. Even so, he shows signs of having what it takes to move up the pirate ladder. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, he doesn't look like much of a threat with his little silly buck tooth in front, his smile, and his blue bandana, but he still carries a little cutlass in his sheath, so he's all set. Move up the ladder. Eventually. Okay, so we got this guy. We barely got to know this guy, even on board the ship. He was just in the crow's nest the whole time. Zuko. Personality, taciturn. Whatever that means. Talent, spying. Zuko is in charge of keeping watch. His sharp eyes can read signs a mile off, but no one really understands what he says, so they rarely know what he's seen. Some things are better seen, not heard. So yeah, this guy may be small, but he's got sideburns sideburns that could cut into your soul like they're cutting into his face and cheeks. Okay, so now we're done with the shrimps. Now we move on to the big guns. Well, sort of. Here's the one who's more flamboyant and fruity of the bunch. Nudge. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, hint, hint. Personality? Who knows? Talent? Sewing. Nudge seems to understand Tetra best of all the pirates and often counsels her in her decision-making. He's actually stronger than Gonzo. Okay, so yeah. He's a bit more off-kilter than the other pirates, but the fact that he basically Tetra's consular is refreshing to hear. Okay, so what do we have here? So yeah, we have the one who seems to get out the most, considering his tan. Senza. Personality, mild-mannered. Talent, talking, maybe? So yeah, another case of the description not even knowing about the character. Okay, so it's clear that Carlov didn't know everything when making the descriptions for these characters. Senza is in charge of keeping the pirate ship in order. He's a mild-mannered speaker, but his persuasive skills are said to be unmatched. Alright, so yeah, persuasive talker, huh? And in the letter Aryll sent us when she's with the pirates, she says that she has some stories to tell. So yeah, this guy and Zuko with the red bandana were kind of the ones that we know the least about. I mean, I'm sure that the others had their fair of secrets too, but we never really have much to say. I mean, we interact with these guys the least of all. Okay, so on to the ones that matter. The big guns, the one golden shrimp, yeah? Gonzo, personality, short-tempered. Favorite thing, Miss Tetra. Leader of Tetra's family of pirates, Gonzo seems to be quite strong, but he cries at the drop of a hat. Yeah, the big muscular guy with short temper, but has a more sensitive side to him. I like his chest hair with the spiral on it. Yeah, he's the one who calls Scooty a shrimp, yeah? Alright, so, last but not least, you all know what this is. Tetra! Personality, elusive. Tetra seems bossy and strong-willed, but she's actually quite kind. Orphaned at a young age, Tetra followed in her mother's footsteps, becoming a pirate and watching over her mother's gang of lovable swabbies. Tetra and her crew are in search of a legendary treasure hidden beneath the waves of the Great Sea. So if it was either pearls or the Triforce, it looks like Scooty beat her to it. But she's got a new purpose now, searching for new lands and carrying on the king's wishes. With her iconic lightning bolt bangs over her ears and her little curled bob on her head, in her hair. Little curled bun in her hair. Okay, so yeah. Very distinguishable features. Okay, so we got the Fishman. The one who called us Smell Fry throughout our adventures and helped us fill in our sea charts. Fishman. Birthplace, the Great Sea. Personality, honorable, dutiful, and surly. Apparently, these fish were aided long ago by the King of Red Lions, which is why they're now willing to offer Scooty valuable information. So once again, they're hinting at the fact that these fishmen owe the King of Red Lions a solid, or vice versa. They helped him out long ago, so... yeah, this sure is a lot of talking. It starts getting to me a little bit. Unfortunately, much of their information is off the mark. For many long years, they have suffered from stiff necks, but none of them know how to cure it. Unless you have bow and arrow and skewer them. But it's not really that worth it in the long run. Alright, the King of Hyrule himself. King of Hyrule. The King of Hyrule was unable to protect his kingdom from evil and left its fate up to the gods. The King of Red Lions is merely his disguise. His full name is one that is truly fit for royalty. Daphne's No Hansen Hyrule. Well, debatably, the first name does seem a little feminine. I mean, if you're referring to the Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
Jeepers!
But, this is... well, but show some respect to this man. He just passed away, so... well, in the ending cutscene, he passed away. If you don't save the game, he's still alive and well in the King of Red Lions body, or boat form. So yeah, basically, a big bearded guy in a red suit with white trim. So yeah, basically Santa, if this game was built upon Christianity and not polytheism. But still though, yeah, look at his belt design and his tunic and, oh my goodness, the collar with the Triforce emblem and those wind sigils on them. So yeah, we barely get to see this guy in his true form, but for good reason. And yeah, the trim on his coat, and even the backing and his I wouldn't say a crown, more like a manly tiara with horns. So yeah, definite definite giveaway. He's the King of Red Lions. Speaking of which, this is the very last figurine that Carlov made for us. Scooty and the King of Red Lions. Birthplace, Outset Island. Favorite hand? Left. More of a right-handed guy myself, so I'm just going to assume that Carlov didn't know what he was talking about. The hero of wind, Scooty, uses the Wind Waker to control the wind and sail the seas on his mysterious boat, which is actually the King of Hyrule. Surprisingly, he seems to have an unnatural interest in figurines, and has at last completed his collection. Now he is now the master of the Nintendo Gallery! Yay! Let's give him a medal for that. A nerdy medal that nobody would bother viewing except for him. But anyway. Alright, so we move on to Tetra's alter ego, Princess Zelda. Princess Zelda is the legitimate heir to the Hylian royal family. She is actually the pirate Tetra. And, is nobody gonna question how she went from tan skin to fair skins at the drop of a hat? How does that work? So, do you mean to tell me that underneath her bronze skin as a pirate, I mean, seriously, she's fairly tanned in this form. And just went from... So yeah, I made a joke earlier about how she went from tan skin to fair skin faster than Michael Jackson, and honestly, that's not far from the truth. But anyway. Okay, so we have the Scuba Guys. Salvage Corp. Birthplace, Angular Isles. Talent, searching for a sunken treasure. Okay, so these guys also came from Angular Isles. So, is there like a special land we don't know about that's hidden underneath those man-made isles? It's probably the most I could come up with for answering my own question, but still though. These young men found friendship through their common interest in searching for sunken treasure. Soon afterwards, they formed the Salvage Corp. With their first haul of treasure, all they could afford to buy was their diving suits. Now they dream of finding that one huge haul that makes them all rich. They are currently searching for the legendary treasure sunken beneath the sea. Sorry guys, beat you to it. Okay, so... Oh, and if you look at the flag, there's a cute little diving suit helmet type of symbol on them. So yeah, all they could afford was their iconic diving suits and their ability to say, "Yo, Bob!" Alright, so we have the minigame maestro, well, not maestro, just the patron, when there's a little desk with all these little knobs and levers, and even a horn, I guess, or just I don't know what that is. You can find it on record players. But anyway, that you know what this is. Just the humdrum master of minigames. Salvatore, birthplace, Windfall Island. Talent, drawing pictures. I like to draw some myself, so yeah, common interests. Long ago, Salvatore hoped to be a famous painter, but that dream didn't last very long. He eventually returned to his hometown and came up with his current business plan. It's been a huge success, allowing him to purchase his own island, where he has opened up the second store in what he hopes will become a huge chain. He's now busy trying to think up that one idea that will spark his next big endeavor. Feelings mutual, buddy. So yeah, he just has a look that he just regrets all of his life choices, and just he had plans to make it big, and this is where he is. Just wasting his life away, just being being the head of just a couple of lousy minigames. That's all. It's just thinking, this is what I have to show for my life. Take it or leave it. Sorry. Alright, so we have the lone sailor on the most southern reaches of the Great Sea. Lute the sailor. Birthplace, Windfall Island. His only fear, the mermen. Lute spends his days working far from home at the boating course. He takes his earnings straight to the cafe bar in Windfall to enjoy a relaxing beverage. So that explains why he showed up at the cafe that one night. Yeah. I kind of like it when there's male characters who kind of have like a ponytail. I don't know, it's just a feature that I particularly enjoy. They just have such long hair that they have to use ponytail. Okay, well anyway, Beedle with his iconic Roman army helmet. Wherever he got that, nobody knows. Beedle, birthplace unknown. Favorite thing? Bugs, especially beetles. Why do you think he got his name? Doy. A businessman by nature, Beedle's sales pitch is unmatched. He hopes to open a chain of trading posts where people can buy, sell, or trade anything. And speaking of Beedle, I still need to get more points for his gold membership and find out what the prize for that is. But we'll get to that in the next and final part of Wind Waker. I'm pretty much spinning my wheels with this game. We've already done the major stuff. Okay, so yeah, this little annoying little shrimp was annoying, but mandatory. So yeah, there he is, sitting on his stool in his cell, most likely. Tingle, birthplace unknown. Favorite things? Fairies, deciphering maps. It's been several years since Tingle first became enchanted with deciphering maps in the hopes that it would help him find fairies. And he's lost many things during that time. He's raising funds to begin his search for fairies, hoping to embark sometime in his 30s. While the lust of life is still upon him, at the age of 35, the pressure's on. And sadly, I almost relate to this guy, because, like I said before, I'm just turned 31, so yeah. But if you look closely, he's got a cobra on the back of his suit. So that's interesting. And what that clock around his neck symbolizes, or where he got that, is anyone's guess. So yeah, that's a face even a mother could hate. With those annoying buck teeth and that curled up grin and a little goat and a little beard, a mole, swirling marks, and a red nose. Yeah, so. Alright, so we have his brothers now. We're almost done. Okay, so the pink one, we have Ankle. Birthplace unknown. Favorite proverb: one may as well hang for a stolen sheep as for a stolen lamb. I don't know who wrote that proverb, and I probably don't want to know. Since being taught how to decipher maps by his older brother Tingle, Ankle has been supporting his good-for-nothing twin brother Knuckle. The only time he feels he can truly be himself is when he's tending to the Tingle Island flower garden. But I think his brother Knuckle calls dibs on that, so yeah. Yeah, Tingle has a family, so he has a younger brother. Or two of them, honestly, so what's with the guy in the white? We'll soon find out. So yeah, this guy's just as flamboyant and as enthusiastic as his fairy-loving brother. But this guy, not so much. And honestly, he looks a bit different. But you might be surprised at what the description says. David Jr., Birthplace, Windfall Island. Occupation, treasure hunter. 17-year-old David Jr. set out to sea with dreams of finding the treasure of the ghost ship that his now deceased father once saw. He gets seasick quite easily and was in just such a state when he awoke in a daze on Tingle Island. Ankle told him that self comes before wealth, and he's been working in the tower ever since. He really hates the uniform. So yeah, Tingle is confirmed to be not only just having dark secrets, but also kidnapping and forcing them to crank his tower indefinitely. So yeah, Tingle really should have stayed in jail for his crimes. I mean, this is inexcusable. So yeah, this poor guy just never really found the treasure that his long-lost father, or his deceased father, once saw. I mean, he saw the ghost ship and he wanted to find that treasure. Not only that, but he washed ashore on Tingle Island and they assimilated him into their weirdo cults of fairies and joy, when really Tingle is just forcing him to turn his tower around forever and ever. Some life, huh? Alright, the very final figurine. Okay, so this one, so the thing about this figurine is the pedestal was never here to begin with. Basically because the only way you can actually get a picture of Knuckle was if you actually had the Tingle tuner and a Game Boy Advance to connect to that, to complete Knuckles' minigame, and only after completing that minigame on Outset Island would he appear on Tingle Island, where you could actually get a full-blown picture of him. So if you didn't have the GBA and you couldn't find Knuckle, there was no point in having a pedestal to begin with. But thanks to me owning a GBA player, that was not a problem in unearthing Knuckle. But if you failed to get a pictograph of Knuckle before Carlov left, well, you would never get his figurine. So, really thankful that that's not the case, because I would have regretted it a lot. So yeah, just Knuckle in his stretching pose, I guess. So yeah, we got the green, we got the pink, we got the white, and now we got the periwinkle of the bunch, the blue one. Knuckle. Birthplace, unknown. Occupation, carver. Knuckle is another of Tingle's younger brothers. He happens to be Ankle's twin. He finished carving Tingle Tower when he was 10 years old. The head is his studio. Oh, is that so? I actually remember the head of Tingle Tower having windows. So yeah, there's a little room in the spinning head, so. Supposedly, he felt unsatisfied completing his collection without this figure. He loves his special vertically aligned Tingle tuner. So yeah, the description speaks for itself. I was supposedly felt unsatisfied completing his collection without this figurine. So yeah. Ugh, excuse me. Yeah, I've been talking my head off throughout this entire part, and now it's starting to get to my throat. Ugh. But yeah, that's actually another thing that I forgot to go through is the hand-me-down tuner. But that you only get after you find Knuckle, so yeah, that's another thing. Well, that's it. That is all of the Nintendo Gallery. So yeah, this is basically a bunch of couple of lengthy parts about me just going over the descriptions of each and every last figurine in the Nintendo Gallery. So yeah, it's practically pointless for those of you who wanted real action, but we've already completed the game, so there's not much else to do. Alright. There is one last part that I have planned. Apparently there was some secrets with the Tingle tuner that I missed on our journeys. And also I want to find out what those bonuses from Beedle will actually entail. So yes, we've done basically every single last thing we can think of except for one more measly part where I actually take a little bit of time with the Tingle tuner for for a much more benign reason than going through dungeons. But that'll wait until the next part. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and if you would leave a comment and or like, that would be much appreciated. Until next time on The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, this is ToonGamer23, signing out. So yeah, now that we've gone through all the figurines and their descriptions, what's the point of coming back here? Just... I mean, you could probably come back and visit Manny anytime you want, but you don't really know him that well, and he's kind of a huge nerd. I mean, a nerd. Not even... I mean, I'm basically an average nerd. Just, there are, like, some guys that are even more in... that are just so super obsessed with certain things. It's basically unhealthy, but to each their own, I guess. So yeah. The Nintendo Gallery is all ours, but there's not much point in coming back now that we've viewed their entire gallery now, so... Might as well keep the title of Master of the Nintendo Gallery, but we'll keep it open to pass it on to somebody else. If anybody wants that title.